Got a toy company called Moose Toys, based in Melbourne. We've got offices in various places around the world, particularly where we're selling, America, for example. And we design and create innovative toys that we ship all over the world. Probably about the 6th biggest toy company in the world now. I had a gift company that I started in '74, sold it in '91, '92 thereabouts, never to work again, retired. Moose was meant to be a passive investment with 2 other guys that were supposed to run it. It was doing about 6 million turnover, had about 10 people. Things went wrong with the so-called partners and the previous owner. I ended up buying them all out, shifted to Melbourne to fix things up, and next thing you know, I'm back in the business world. Nothing more complicated than that. I've always been driven, and that would probably come from childhood, not having much, not being overly successful within the small community that I was brought up in academically. Friends became doctors, lawyers, I didn't. So I was driven to succeed at something. Money wasn't the primary motivation, it was just to be successful. And I've always had a very competitive spirit, and that goes with anything that I do. That's chess, soccer, tennis. Mainly I was concentrated on sport. I played a very high grade of squash for 20 odd years, which is probably the most competitive sport of all, because it's like boxing. You're in a ring and there's nowhere to hide if you're not up to scratch. If I'm in business, I'm determined the business is going to be the best business there is. Nothing more complicated than that. Business practices, I've always maintained a high degree of ethics, and I've always maintained a win-win situation of when I'm dealing with people. Does that correlate with the spiritual? Well, it actually does correlate with the spirituality. That was not my primary motivation. I only got into spirituality when I was about 40. It came to me late in life. Prior to that, I believed that you ate, you had a good time, and I certainly had a good time. You procreated, you lived your life, and then you're dead, you're buried, you're in the ground, that's the end of it. That changed dramatically for me from the age of 40 onwards. I do believe a lot of Buddhist teachings, but on a spiritual level, I'd say I'm sort of a child of the universe, if you want, for a better of a word. My primary motivation was to try and rescue the company. It doesn't matter what the company was doing, it just happened to be toys. But when you put it in that context, for sure, our DNA thing is about making children happy. And we donate well over 10% of our income towards children's well-being. We build playgrounds for kids. We do stuff in hospitals, children's hospitals. I do it because I believe it's right, and I give 10% of my own income. I have for a long, long time, since I started this meditation thing. But I do it anonymously because and I can explain to you spiritually the impact on you yourself if people know about the money that you're giving. So they've tried to put my name up in places that I've built and stuff, and I won't do it. But for the company, I've done it because I think it's beneficial for the team and the overall company perspective. And we get our staff to physically participate in all of this stuff. But how do I feel about it? And I know it's going to sound really strange, and it's probably the first person you're ever going to hear say this, but I'm actually totally detached from it, as strange as that sounds. I don't have any emotion about people do stuff to make themselves feel good. I do it because I think it's right, not to make myself feel good. The culture that we've created, and the culture that I believe in wholeheartedly, I apply everywhere. So we've got 60 odd people in our LA office, we've got people in Minneapolis, we've got people in Bentonville, and they are of the same disposition because they've been inculcated with our value system. Is that because it's Australia? I don't think so. But Australians do have a rather laid-back style of operating and treating people with respect and with possibly a little bit less ego than some of the other countries. But I'd be doing this, doesn't matter where I was.